Recording has started. Well, welcome. How are you?
Welcome to the Tay and Sin podcast. I'm Tay. This is Sin. This is our first podcast just for you guys. And it's going to be a podcast. Tell them what the podcast is going to be about, Cindy.
So we've decided to do a podcast on long distance relationships. What we're going to find out as we go through this journey is learning all things that come up when we talk about long distance relationships, which is very different, obviously, to your regular standard everyday relationship. There's a lot of different things to navigate through. So we spend a lot of time on the phone. So we figured we may as well do a podcast.
Bring some content to you guys. So first, though, this podcast is brought to you guys by Gratitude Creates Magic right here. And you can get your Gratitude Creates Magic hats, shirts, hoodies, and yoga pants at Be Grateful and Golden on the Etsy store. Wonderful platform if you haven't checked it out before. And you can also check out Cindy in her home.
I'm on Instagram at Kindred Rejuvenation. So all things Reiki, meditation, sound healing. Can contact me through there, and then we can arrange online, over the phone, or in person treatments, sessions.
Help sponsor me and Cindy's meetings.
Perfect. So what are we going to do? We're going to start off talking about how we actually came to meet, being that we're how many miles apart?
What, close to 10,000?
Correct. Go. So you go. You tell us. You start if you want.
All right. So what we're gonna bring a lot of value to you guys in this podcast. You know, we're gonna talk about us, obviously, and we're gonna talk about a lot of things that can bring value to you and your relationship. And we're gonna be your survival guide for the long distance relationship. And you guys are gonna be along with us on the journey, so you get to see if we can pull this thing off or not. So you're with us in real time for each episode. And we're going to bring a lot of value to you. What's one of the first things that you want to talk about, Cindy, of how we came to be where we met?
Well, why don't we just talk about where we actually met? Because it wasn't, we met on an online platform. It was an audio app that we both were a part of since 2021. So we've been on there for a while.
Yep, the app Clubhouse. A lot of y'all heard about it. It was probably a little more popular during quarantine, but the app has endured. And it's ironic because she and I, it's an app where you go into different rooms and spaces. They have different topics, different hosts. And ironically, probably from the first week, she and I were sharing spaces together with a lot of the same people. And essentially, we probably heard each other's voices, or I heard her voice, but we never had any sort of real communication. And come full circle till the end of last year. I was in a space a lot more that Cindy is the host of. It's called Ever Mindful. It's a beautiful space. It was exactly what it is, of being mindful, and just a great community of good people. And I would sit in there and listen, because they do card readings in there, oracle card readings, and they do music days and different stuff. Play your favorite song, and then they do meditations. Book club. Yes, we do the book club there. Reading a lot of mindfulness books, and I just spent a lot of time in the room, and and the way that me and Cindy started talking, I didn't start talking to her on the app about, hey, you look hot and we should, like, in front of people. No,
it wouldn't have gone anywhere if we did that, I don't think.
No,
it was quite nice, though. It was quite organic. We started spending a lot more time in the rooms because you were coming in a lot more. So over the last 2-3 years, we were in different rooms. We gravitated to a lot of mindfulness spaces. I think that's where we're in all different kinds of rooms, maybe some music rooms as well, because we had Vince's rooms as well. So yeah, and then all of a sudden, it was more. You were more in the Ever Mindful space. I think you really liked coming into the book clubs and the Monday Oracle readings, and then there's also like Jin's room that she would do from time to time. You would pop in as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another psychic room.
Yeah,
love my healthy psychics. Grounded.
Yeah,
have stuff going on in life, and not anyway.
So that was fun, but that was nice because it was organic. So you'd come in, and it was almost like we started talking about certain topics in the room. The book club was a great one because we'd always talk about topics that were coming up in the room, and it's almost like you start getting to know people's thought processes and your thought process through the way the room was like directed.
I know where you're going, but before we go there, this is for the audience. Why should the people care? Why should they care? What are we bringing to the people? And I'll grab it if you want.
Go on, do it.
I think what's important about the way that we met and under the facility that we met, the space that we met is important to acknowledge and pay attention to. We had like-minded items. We had high-minded items. We had self-development in there. We had obviously mindfulness in there. We were coming from a place of abundance, not lack, not trauma. We weren't bonding on each other's trauma. Yeah. We weren't like, oh, you were beating your relationship and I was beating my relationship, so we're beat together. Like it wasn't that sort of, connection. It was more of like, and that was a terrible analogy, but it's like, but I'm just being real. Like we're not bonding on some sort of trauma, and in all respect to anyone that's been through something tough, things, this and that. But it's really about growth and development, positivity, positive mindset, abundance mindset, things that really are going to connect us to our highest purpose. And, she and I have some high-minded goals. We want to change the world together. So this is just our first start of doing that and taking the energy and the cultivation of energy that was being harnessed in those rooms, in those spaces with all those good ideas and bringing it to a platform such as this. You're going to hear about our smiles, our cries. You're going to watch the journey in real time. You're going to gain some insight into just, how you can survive if you're in a long distance relationship, some tips, tricks, things that you can do that'll help contribute to the possibility of success. I think it's also important too, just of like how it compares to just a standard traditional relationship of two people living together and what most of your attention and energy goes to. Do you want to add something, Cindy?
Absolutely. It's just there's a lot of different things that pop up when you're in a long distance relationship, communication and all different things that we probably take for granted when we've got our partners or our other halves in our close, in our neighborhoods or that live with us. So I think that we're going to see, we are in real time too. It hasn't been that long since we started discovering and seeing where this thing goes. So I think the beauty of it's going to be being able to, go through this, meet people along the way or bring this to people who are probably, starting off a long distance relationship and finding obstacles that come up because we're obviously going through this.
Tools. Yeah, we're going to give people tools, I think what a lot of relationships end up going through is, what's the number one thing most relationships start out as? You go out on a date, what do people do? And this is a relationship podcast too, tips, tricks, ideas, how to make a better relationship. But, one of the things about relationships that I notice is that what do you spend the most time doing? I remember a relationship I was in probably in like early 2000s when I first moved back to Atlanta from the military. And you know what our number one item? Guess what our number one thing is?
I don't even want to guess. Go on,
it's easy to guess. No, think about it. What are the 3 or 4 things that you can do when you're in a relationship and you live with somebody, or they're coming over to your home, or you're just spending time? What do we do?
Watching movies,
TV,
music,
TV. TV
Yeah.
is the number one thing, and a lot of people just watch a lot of TV together. You know what I mean? And then what are we doing? What are people doing outside of television?
Going out to
But-
dinner, going out to places.
Yeah. So minus obviously, television, is like the primary thing that most people are kind
Mhm.
of locked in at, right? So we're always watching TV or watching TV. We spend time. Let's
Being
watch Netflix.
distracted, yeah.
Is that productive? So it's like when you start really analyzing where the value is, and obviously there's like some different levels of connection that you can't reach when you're in a long distance thing. But I think as far as intimacy, what is the definition and let's go there. Like what is really the definition of, is watching television an intimate thing?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel a lot closer to you with the way that our relationship has gone so far than I have with people that I've had in my life face to face, so we get a lot of we go deep in regards to what we talk about. There is a sense of connection, even though there is a lot of distance. I mean, if we don't have that cloudiness of, you come over, we sit down and watch TV, we watch it for hours, and then we're tired and then we go to sleep. Like, that doesn't happen when you're in a long distance relationship. You get a bit more time to connect.
It's funny. I think when people meet in person, obviously there's a huge physical aspect to it, and then
Mm.
I think a lot of that inability to be vulnerable is obviously the fear. You're in front of the person.
Mhm.
The risk goes up. The possibility of I could mess this up if I say the wrong thing goes up, and I think that keeps people
Guarded.
guarded and staying within a certain boundary
Mm.
within themselves. And ultimately, when real challenge and real things come into play into the relationship, or you want to take it to that next level, that comfort is not there. That vulnerability, that clarity, that understanding of the person is not there. And so intimacy is a lot deeper than just like, oh, okay, we're watching the show and like I'm gonna put my hand on her leg or she's like scratching my neck. It's way deeper than that. It's getting into a person's head. It's getting to know what
Mm.
makes it tick. Is getting to know um, you know who they are on a deeper
Absolutely.
level, on a soul level, not just a
Mhm.
superficial um, what looks good on paper, check off the boxes level.
And there is a lot of safety too when you are in a long distance relationship, because you can be that little bit more open, and you've got that protection of, I wasn't too worried about being in front of you when we were talking, because there was no way that you were going to I wasn't going to bump into you anywhere in, my everyday life. So it was one of those things where I could open up, I could really say what I was feeling and thinking. And you've got that, it's almost like a safety net. But at the same time, you're able to let your guard down a lot more, because it's like, I can be a little bit more open and see, how this goes, and there was a lot of that coming from both of us, really. We really did open up a lot in regards to what we spoke about, a broad range of stuff that we spoke about in the early weeks. Even, there was a lot of conversations that we would normally not have had after months of, dating someone that you meet that's not long
So,
distance.
question, Cindy.
Mm.
When all right, when was the first time you noticed me? Because obviously we had been seeing each other for 2 years in the room, but we didn't
Yeah.
take notice of each other. So
Well,
what
it's
did
not that I didn't notice you, because I think your voice is, because, okay, for those that don't know Clubhouse is an audio app. So it's not like we can see each other either. So you've got a little avatar. There's just a little avatar. So you really don't, you don't have the person animated or talking. It's not, so there's an avatar, and then all you hear is the voice. So I heard your voice. Your voice is really like it's a very demanding voice. It commands a lot of attention. You walk in, it's deep. It's like your accent, obviously, because it's American. But so I noticed you. I noticed you when you weren't even coming in the room all that often, because when you would pop up and you would speak, I'd hear your voice and I'd go, oh, he's in the room again. So I do remember you coming in and out. I didn't think any, and also I wasn't mentally in a place 3 years ago or two years ago where I was even remotely, open to even connecting with anyone on the app. So I kind of just had everyone as, just I was acknowledging people in my spaces. And that's where I remember you coming in more than anything else. I would say probably in the book club rooms and also the cards, because they're the two rooms you came into. You started being a little bit more vocal. You weren't so quiet. And because I was facilitating the spaces, I kind of got to interact with you a little bit more, which is where I kind of went, oh, he's back again. And, and then I would notice that you were in the room. And then Gin's room, with Gin being Gin, it was kind of like, there was more communications, a little bit more playful, that room. It's not so much of like our structured Monday to Friday rooms that we do on Ever Mindful. It was kind of like just Gin and my room. I didn't have the other 5 mods. So it was kind of like we facilitated the space with us, and we've had an over 30-year relationship, as in our friendship has been going since we were 11 years old. So it kind of opened up a little bit more of a playfulness in that room. So we kind of got to, I think you and her had some talking about exercising, and she remember when she said to you, oh, he's going to get up me, because that's something that we say in Australia. And you were like, what the hell are you talking about? But yeah, so it was kind of like, then
Australians have a lot of sexual innuendo phrases.
No, you Americans have a dirty mind. That's what happened. See?
If you say you're gonna run up in, he's gonna run up in me. That's just
no. He's going to get up me.
That means well, then now that you clarified, he's gonna get up me. Okay,
he's gonna get up me. Yeah, as in for not
that's
exercising.
Not sexual at all.
No, well, see, it doesn't have to be. But yeah. So there was those rooms, right? So then it was kind of like, yeah, I just noticed you. That's how it happened. And you were coming in frequently. I noticed you a lot more because you were coming in more frequently. So that's basically how I remember. And you've always got the same avatar too. So the avatar's never changed. So you kind of get familiar with, oh, he's here.
That's true. I changed it a bit, but I think in December I changed it because I had went to a seminar, the Aspire seminar. And I had taken a photo. I had to do an impromptu self-tape there in the actual ballroom, and I had like just screenshot it. I was like, hey, I look really good. This is a good picture at this event. And then so I started using that as my avatar. I remember seeing you in other rooms. I remember seeing you in other rooms over time. And then I'd started spending more time in that space, that Ever Mindful space. And I remember, obviously, you're one of the main people in the room, the founders of the room. And I would listen to you guys and I would hear your voice and I'm like, who is this? And then I would look at you can look in a person's bio once you click their picture on the app. And so I went into her bio and I'm like, oh, West Sydney, Australia. Like too far away. This ain't like, what are you gonna do? I was like, are you trying to make your life difficult? Like is life not complicated enough to start talking to somebody that's thousands of miles or like a day away flight? But possibilities are endless in life, so we always have to be open to a possibility. And so, I would be in the room and she and I would be sharing and she sent me a card one day. I just loved hearing her voice, like anything, reading a book, reading a card. It's an amazing voice. And she'd sent me photos of the card and the stuff that she was reading from the Oracle book. And I was like, oh, here's my shot. Yes. And fortunately for me, I'm like, I have like have some level of manners and crass. Like I'm not crass. I don't just go in with things. So she had posted something on Instagram about Italy, and I was like, that was on my list of places to travel to. And then I says, we should meet in Italy together. No passport, but we should meet there.
You said, yeah, because I think my post was, you don't need therapy, you just need a trip to Italy. That's what my post was on Instagram that day, because I have this fascination with Italy. I've never been, but I have this fascination with Italy. And you said, oh, your message to me was, oh, funny that I that's one of the places I want to get to this year. That was the first thing you said to me. That wasn't room related, because I would send you the cards in the room when we did the oracle card readings, and then I'd say, I'll send you that card because you got that. The crystal card was a good one that you got. So I send that one to you, and it was just like a thank you. It was, you were very well mannered. Like you were you were just like so nice. I was like, oh, okay, cool. There's your card. Thank you. Whatever. There was nothing, and I'm not a flirtatious kind of person. So I was never going to do anything like that. It was never going to happen. But yeah. So then when you said to me something about going to Italy, even then, like you said something about, I want to go there this year or something. And I just jumped straight into that my mum had gone. Like I was just like, phew, just didn't really, capitalize on we should go.
We were basically, it was like, okay, all of a sudden we were travel buddies and we had all these lists of places to go to. And then I suggested that we should have a phone conversation. And then you immediately let me know your availability. And, from the minute that we started talking on the phone, I knew that we had a connection. From the minute we started sending each other videos, I knew, there was a strong connection, strong bond there. Very, very unique set of circumstances. And then, there's a lot of stuff I will get into. We're going to save it for another episode. I want to give you guys just too much. We'll talk another few minutes here. But yeah, like as far as some of the things that we want to get into and share with you guys is, okay, like, once we made the discovery of like, okay, we like each other. Okay, how did we figure this thing out? And we won't go there to right this second. We'll go there in a later episode. But, how did we figure this out? What conversation did we have? How did we come to the conclusion that this is a real possibility? Obviously I will say this in this episode is like, okay, when you're talking long distance relationship, you got to have an end goal. You got to have an end goal. If you don't have an end goal, if you don't have some, it's just fluff. You're just kind of like, well, it's you can always have the relationship, but as far as being realistic about taking it to another level, it's the possibility is limited, and I think when you start talking about being in a long distance relationship for 2 and 3 years, and then you're just having to just able to travel and see each other a couple of times, and then you have to really make some decisions about, what if you're comfortable with that, if that's what you want. I think communication is important. People being honest about where they're at and what their circumstances is in their life at that exact moment, what they want. You know what I mean? We're both two people. I think that, we both have children. We both have been married. We both been through relationships.
Yeah, that's what we found out about when we started talking. There's a lot in common there. Young parents.
Young parents. Young parent, teenage. We're both teenage parents, and the unique part about us being teenage parents is that, I stuck around as the guy, married my son's mom, and really tried to make a go at it. And as you did too. I don't think you married your kid's father, but you lived in a common law type relationship that you could consider a marriage by a status, circumstance. So we had all that in common, and we had the fact that it wasn't, and the other one of us was able to find a level of success, obviously. So here we sit 25, almost 30 years later, still trying to figure it out. And I think what's cool, unique and cool about another thing that really attracted to me, and I said, this girl might be the one, and I said, she could be the one. I was like, is your addiction to 90s R&B.
Oh my God.
And the amount of children that are in their 30s right now that should be thanking Jodeci, Silk, High Five, all these guys, Candy Rain and all this, groups like this, Aaron Halls, guys that are in jail right now for shit that we had no idea.
Wrapping around. It goes on and on and on.
It goes on. Yeah. So I think when I made that discovery about you, I was like, okay, I got something special here, because she had a vibe like a girl that she was like the girl next door that was 10,000 miles away.
Slightly next door. But that was. Yeah, good music. And you've introduced me to some music that I've never heard before as well.
And you like it, you know.
Some of it I like. That other stuff you played the other day was like,
Which stuff? What I play?
That heavy stuff. It was like heavy metal kind of.
Oh,
music.
metal? Oh, you mean like Power Trip and stuff?
Whatever it was.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Power Trip. You played that, and I was like,
Yeah.
no.
I discovered metal at 39, so you know what are you gonna do? One metal group I like, and a few songs from others. I'm not really a metal guy.
No, but no, it's good. It's interesting how it unfolded. Was pretty interesting. It's unfolding, but those first initial conversations were pretty cool.
So let me ask you this: so, like, can you consider a long distance relationship a relationship if you never have met the person in person?
I think that it's okay. So it's a bit of a tricky one, but I actually felt a connection before we met. Obviously, I mean, are you in a relationship? Well, you're in a kind of relationship, so there's that. You know, I don't know if you can class yourself. I don't know. I feel like you can. I mean, you don't, as long as you end up meeting. I mean, we're trying to work it out. We were trying to work it out. We weren't putting a lot of pressure on ourselves either, which is another thing that I really liked. My conversations with you had me at a point where I really wanted to meet you, because I thought, if it's this good over the phone, I really want to get in front of you. I want to meet you. We need to have this, face-to-face meeting. It can't just stay like this the whole time. And I could feel that something was happening. I could feel that, my feelings were not just, oh, that guy's cute in the room, I wonder what he's all about. It was more, I started really enjoying the way you thought, the way you spoke. And it was like, there's something here and I need to explore this. And yeah, I'd say it's a level of relationship. It's not a conventional one, but it is a good one. It started off the way it did.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. I kind of, when I hear a person say they're in a long distance relationship and they say they've never met the person, I'm like, oh, okay, that's great, because really,
and then you meet a girl, and then you're like,
what? Well, you meet a girl.
How do you feel now? How do you now? How do you feel before we met? Right? How do you feel?
About long distance?
Yeah, would you have said, "Oh, okay, well, it's not really a relationship. It's something, but it's not really a relationship."
I say it's a friendship until you physically meet and kind of like consolidate it, in a traditional fashion.
Yeah, right,
and actually spend time with the person and realize that, my dogs are going crazy, and realize that there's some chemistry there and there's some possibility there for potential, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think once you've talked to the person and you've established that there's a possibility of like, I'm going to come to where you're at, or you're going to come to where I'm at, and there's an openness to that, I think then at that point you can label that as something that's real. Up to that point, I would just say you have a really close kinship or bond with the person. And I think it's like when push comes to shove, as far as making the real commitment, making the decision about that, that's where it really flows into. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next episode. We're going to talk to you guys about our first meeting, where it was at, how we felt, what we did, and then after that, like, okay, where do we go from here? So this is so glad that we got the opportunity to just share this great story. We're going to try to make these about 30 minutes each. That we agreed on about 30 minutes a piece.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah, and so grateful to just have everybody on this journey of excitement and just questions, anything, support. That's what this really is about. Can we make this thing work? Will it work? You're along for the ride. Yeah, and if it's not, this is going to be up online for people to go. What to do or what not to do.
Wonder what happened.
Yeah.
That's
You
it.
know, so and if the videos all of a sudden come down, then that means that obviously it didn't work, and then somebody didn't like it.
No, I think that we would do a video at the end to say it didn't work. I reckon that we would do that.
You want to do
I
that?
don't think, listen, we tried.
And here's Todd. Dante didn't make it, but Todd is now here.
Todd. Yeah, okay.
Oh man! So don't
No, but
forget, guys.
I just think
Okay.
we would do a video. We would do a video to say this is the last episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So real quick, guys, go to Kindred Rejuvenations on Facebook and on Instagram. Make sure that you follow Cindy. Make sure that you get your Reiki healing. That is an international service. Make sure you get your Reiki healing. Get your Gratitude is Magic hats to not only support our movement, but to support yourself in your journey of gratitude, because gratitude is magic, guys. So we will see you guys on the next episode of the Sin and Tay podcast. Thank you so much for being a part of our first broadcast.
Bye.